Welcome in to the Napros podcast. This is the actual episode 3. We recorded another episode yesterday, and I said it was episode 3. It was actually episode 4. We were kind of trying to keep it sequential, and so we're finishing chapter 1 today. I don't know how I forgot that we were supposed to do episode 3 yesterday, but just space my mind. So now I'm up at 5:45 in the morning China time recording this podcast because we got to record it. So, how you doing today?
Not horrible. I had a cookout at school for ASME.
Well, explain to the people what is ASME. Explain to the not so good with acronym people.
Not so good with acronym. ASME stands for American Society of Mechanical Engineers. So what that means is basically how awesome I'm doing. No. What that means is basically you can join this group and it kind of has some benefits like just job postings. There's different seminars they might have. There's I don't know, it's kind of like some people actually look for you being a member. They want you to be a member almost. I don't understand why, but I'm not complaining,
Yeah.
But they want you to be a member just to show you belong to a group, I guess.
Okay.
So anyways, I joined that group. Became the treasurer last year, dropped out of the treasurer because I figured let somebody else have it. Plus it
just
goes
time-wise and stuff.
Well, and it goes fall to spring, and I graduate this fall. So, I won't even be there all halfway through it. So instead of cutting out halfway through the year. So that being said, we had a cookout. It's kind of like the first cookout we had since COVID. And it was nice to just be able to get together with people that you're suffering with.
Good.
All school is suffering.
Yeah. All right.
But anyway, so
no.
after that, let's see. I was supposed to go to the gym today, but I didn't. My gym partner canceled, so I just stayed out of it.
Oh.
Yeah, that really, really takes. Wow.
Yeah.
100%. Anyways, how am I delayed? Am I super delayed?
No, you're not delayed. No. I got you good. Am I delayed?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit? Okay. Sorry. Yeah. It's just.
Oh, no, I don't care. Let's go for it.
All right. Let's give it a whirl. Actually, let me make sure that certain things are on and running. Yeah. Should be on and running. I think it's good. Okay, cool. A little weird, but that's fine. Okay, so. All right. So at the middle of middle of chapter 1, he starts talking about these undefined expectations. Kind of like one of the headlines is that men are left kind of wondering in this society, how and where they fit in society. They don't know their purpose. We don't. I guess I should say we don't know our purpose in society anymore. And so I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that. What do you think about that? Do you think that's a real thing? Do you think it's a little sensationalized? What are your thoughts?
No, I think a lot of men are lost these days. You have a lot of men raised up, told not to be rough, tough, and tumble, and then you get older. They're kind of like this nice, soft person. You have two extremes also. You have one that's just super ridiculously too much masculine, no kindness, no warmness. Then you have the other side where it's just I'm trying not to use bad words, but there's just two extremes, So lost is definitely a good word for it. Maybe confused, maybe not lost, maybe confused. Like
confused about like how,
not sure how they should fit in.
like confused about how they should act and how they should be. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, sort of like just who they should be. Should I be a man of the house? Should this be a kid? I mean, it's already been said that men mature later than women do, but at the same time, everything manly is pushed
Okay. So he goes on to kind of like mention that like being manly is kind of like he gives an example, I guess, of this guy who's in a van with his wife and his family, and that his wife is turned around and is yelling at their kids, and that he's not actually like he's just kind of like zoning out, just kind of just there, just kind of like
status quo.
Well, we're not just status quo, but just like nothing really, not really engaged or anything like that with what's going on, and like Ryan kind of goes into this idea that since we don't know who we are, part of the reason why is because like we're men are mocked in movies or in the media or on TV or like even I guess even in music, and that men are kind of treated as the threat to overall existence of humanity, and so yeah, there's that challenge. So, do you agree? You disagree? Do you have any instances where you feel like men are being mocked by media or movies or TV?
Hit or miss. I mean, you see some movies that are like Macho Man, Randy Savage is what they want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, more news, just more or less the news, I would say. Not really movies, TVs. It's hit or miss for those. But yeah, I mean, for a family band, it is kind of like a glazed look. I mean, I've been there. Just like it's a good song. Just making it through and not even caring really, honestly.
Yeah.
Just trying to make it through the car ride.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, it's all about I don't know, not so much movies, TV, definitely news, definitely personal lives, definitely school systems, young school systems. It's all about cages and wild things that we know as boys. It's like it's kind of like why I don't really put such a firm grasp on my kids. Like I want them to be wild. I want them to be boys. Boys will be boys. I want them to be boys. I'm not going to curb that energy for nobody. You tear it up as much as you can. If you do something wrong, you step out of line. Yeah, I correct you. But I mean, Ezra, I probably should have said his name, but my youngest son, you can just cut that out. One of my youngest kids, you just everyone would punch me out of nowhere, and like if we're playing, I don't care. As long as they don't hit the glove of the bell. I mean, he's just tough. Jacob, the other youngest one. he's not so much punchy, but like he'll just come up just like you can just see like he just wants to tear you apart. Like he pinches a lot. I don't know if you knew that or not, but he pinches so much. He's like it's kind of like for me growing up when I was fighting, like fighting something for me, like that was how I reacted, like when I liked something, but like at the same time, it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like that inner wolf, that inner rage, that face you make you get upset.
Yeah. Well, one of I guess for I guess kind of like the thought that I don't know if like that necessarily is good because I guess in my mind like it's kind of creating this mindset of I like again, if you're wrestling around or if you've kind of like gotten into them where it's like, okay, we're goofing off or we're having this time, then yes, like letting that happen. But I wonder if there's a concern or an issue where maybe they take that kind of those actions or that energy and they do it to other people or they like kind of present it to other people. And like in that sense, like your thoughts on that? Because like to me, like again, not having any children at all, like one of my thoughts is, what if
Allegedly.
Well, no, there's no children. Period. Not allegedly, not even unallegedly. But the idea is like we, like if my I mean I would definitely like curb if my child were trying to do the same thing to somebody outside, like like other little kids, doing that kind of thing because of the fact that I know that it would hurt them, and so it's kind of like, where do you find that balance? Where do you get the balance of allowing your child? Where do you get the balance of allowing your child to be quote unquote wild and be a boy and go and explore boy type things or man type things, and then where do you actually like stop it or well, I shouldn't say that. Where do you let them go wild and then where do you not? Like where's that balance at? Is there a balance?
I mean, you kind of gauge how the other parties are affected or what they're doing almost. Like, for me, it's like if the parents are like looking around, like, where's this kid's parents at? It's one way of knowing, like, maybe they're going too far with whatever they're doing. And it's also how the other kid reacts. If the other kid's doing the same thing to them and they're doing it back, go at it if it's not hurting nobody, especially each other. Like, I don't let them hurt. Like, I sure as heck do not approve of my kids hurting each other. Like, the younger two and the oldest one, if they're fighting, I do not tolerate that. Like, punching each other, hitting each other. Because, I mean, I look at it like this. It's like, that's all you got in this world after your parents are gone. Mm-hmm. You have your siblings. Y'all need to make a bond where y'all stick together. You fight against something else together. And, they do that too. I mean, like, if I mess with one, the other ones will come in to save them. It's never just like one against all of them. It's just, but like, I just don't. That's one line I draw. You're not gonna sit there and punch your brother. Like, that is not acceptable. If I'm wrestling with you, you're not gonna hurt them. If you're playing with each other, that's fine. They get mad so quick too. Like that, they are their daddy's made over. But as far as other kids, it's like, I mean, it goes both ways, like you have to draw a line one way, but also the other way, like, because there's times now where Alice gets into little snippets. I go names again. Alice gets in little snippets, just leave them in there. Whereas, like, an older kid does something or another kid does something, and I'm like, are you telling me the whole story? And then I gotta fish the whole story out. I was like, so you wanted me to go and make a big deal about it, and you over here acting like a donkey, like nothing else is happening. Mm-hmm. We were at a park one day, and he called some girl's sister. He's like, I mean, I don't think he meant anything back. He's so literal. He's like, man, your sister has a big head. I was like, why would you say that? Like, there's some things you don't have to say. So. Yeah. But turned out I saw that girl later on. She had a big head. I mean, he was 100%. Like, I mean, it's like, you can't say that. Like, he was like, they said I was being rude and all that stuff. I was like, well, you were being rude. I was like, even if it is true, there's sometimes you have to quail that. It's funny because, like, I had to learn that myself. Mm-hmm. You're teaching your kids something. You're still trying to learn yourself. It's hilarious. And so
learning how to be tactful when you present something that may or may not cause somebody else to react a certain way.
Like, there's things that he says that doesn't bother me. And like for instance, you asked me how do I draw the line. Like when I'm at Dad's house, like it's just so much stricter because I just don't want to hear Dad complaining.
Yeah.
Like if they're out with me, like I was gonna say something offhand to me, but like he might get upset with me. And like I understand he's upset. He gets upset. Says, well, you're fat. I was like, that is true. I was like, but you're still wrong.
Yeah.
Like they don't. It's like he says it just to be mean or to phase you, but don't worry. You just gotta like sometimes just feel like overlooking, but like you're not gonna get a rise out of something. Like, and then I'll say something, and he'll make like kind of like, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have done this. Like he understands what he's doing.
Yeah.
There's no sense in like having to beat him up because of it.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, where were we at? Oh, this idea of all right. So this idea of so you correcting or not so much correcting him when he says something that's kind of like mean, intended to be mean, but maybe just preventing him from or maybe just like saying, okay, yeah, but you're trying to get a rise out of me, or you're trying to be kind of a bit of a jerk out of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna go through all the details, but yeah, I mean, it's more or less he's upset. Like, it's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have said that. I'm not gonna smack you. I mean, there's sometimes just like, yeah, okay, you want to say that? Let's sit out from playing. I mean, his biggest thing is sitting out like it's sitting out. If you put him in timeout, we're doing something fun. Man, he's dying. He's over there like, oh my God, how long I gotta sit out? I don't know, like how long you keep talking over there, son?
Yep. So,
one thing I was gonna say was like, there's a term you use, it was real big in the 90s. It was like, it's kind of funny. It was, it's kind of like what curved the whole thing. That was misogyny. Basically being against women, right? Well, now you see like it's flipped almost. Like it's not okay to be a man. It's too much, and there's actually a term for that. You see right there, it's misandry, which is crazy. So now we live in a society where it's not okay to be a man. It's not misogyny anymore. It's misandry now. It's like the man is pushed away, pushed down, cast aside until, like we said before, until we're needed.
Yeah.
Emergencies, manliness, something that requires it. And there's not many things. I mean, there's not many things nowadays that a man can do that some woman can do.
Right. Well, and he goes into this idea of where we have now, instead of men teaching boys how to be men, we have more of them like being raised by women. We have more like, instead of the Boy Scouts being separated from a Girl Scout, it's now all of a sudden trying to be more inclusive. The Scouts, trying to be more inclusive of just all sexes, and so kind of having that as a dilemma where now there's an issue, and like, so he goes on to like talk about how there are certain things that a woman cannot teach a boy, and certain things that a man can't teach a girl. And so I was wondering, from like your perspective, what do you think women cannot teach boys? Because I don't think we can. I mean, I think we can guess what men can't teach girls, but like, what do you presume would be maybe like one thing that women cannot teach men?
I mean, how to be a man.
But like more specific. Like in what? More specific.
I mean, like all men should have like a code almost, Like in my opinion, like I don't know how to explain it. you should have a sense of right and wrong. You know, and I'm not saying women can't do right or wrong, but it's like there's just some things you don't do as a man that I don't know. Honestly, I feel like there's something I just can't put words on. Let me think about that one. Let me come back to that one. Hold on.
I mean, I like for me, I would say like maybe like one of the challenging things that would be for women to teach men is how to be both tough and kind at the same time. Like how to be like how to let's just say how to correct your child, but being kind at the same time. Like how to
let me think this through. So, we live in a society where there's not many male figures around. And I think what it is like there's that balance that you don't have when raising kids. Even a boy, like the boy looks to the mom for kindness, but the boy looks to the dad for the adventure and the approval. Daddy, did I do a good job? Mama gives that to you, but mama's always gonna be proud. You know what I mean? Dads will tell you if you're doing well, also tell you if you're doing good. Most dads, good dads. You itch for that, and I think the bad aspect of it is like, moms raise kids to love them, but they raise them for that to be their number one love. So like, I think of like the Drake song, "All I Love Is My Bed and My Mama." Did you mute yourself? You froze. We keep talking. It froze.
Yeah.
I feel like it's learning how to move past mom is one thing that mom can't teach you. Stepping out away from the house, getting out on your own.
So one thing. So one idea that I've got, like I think there's definitely a sense of like empathy that your mom can teach you. I think there's a sense of kindness that mom can teach you that dad may not be so good at. But then also I think that there's like responsibility. Like I would venture to say, like we have the term helicopter parents, but like definitely I would say more so on the mom side, just as a protective unit. The mom wants to protect, but the dad's kind of like, okay, let me see if I can put this child in danger. Let me see what kind of like happens, and not like physical harm or like physical disability. Yeah, not like in that sense where it's like, okay, I'm going to push my child off the edge of a cliff and see if it survives. No, not quite to that extent, but like there's no way. Like when we were learning how to swim, there's no way our mom would have thrown us into a life vest and then tossed us out into the water and said, swim back. No way. Not happening. But like there's a sense of like maybe like self-reliance.
I mean even to this day, like nowadays, with me and my ex, it's like she'll sit there at the pool with them when she has something. She will sit in the lawn chair and will not move. And the kids are playing in the shower. And, when I'm there with the kids, I try and sit in the lawn chair, but they're all like, "Can we go in the deep end?" Yeah, let's go. I'll come over there with you, and like we practice swimming. Like I would swim with them across the pool and swim with them back with a life vest, just until I get used to it. Just like, hey, yeah, you can do this without me now. I feel comfortable enough, but at the same time, it's like, let's see how far you can make it. They make it sometimes they don't. It was really hard when they don't make it and they grab me and I'm like still trying to breathe myself.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I wonder
like they don't I don't think mamas do that enough. That some may do, like I see some do, and they spend time with them. A lot of them are, they're not there for the adventure, they're there for the love, I guess, The adventures, the males, 100% men do the adventures, women do the love and compassion and the empathy, as you put it.
I mean, and I think there's nothing wrong with having the love and the passion and the empathy, or but yeah, like kind of that idea, like because I mean, like even going back, like the story that I've got about what Dad did versus what Mom did, like when I turned 18 and went out on my own, and started kind of like making my own money and like living by myself and all that jazz, I would spend like what I would do is I would get to a point where I was making I made money throughout the week. It was like I was paid hourly, but what I would do is we would get paid on Monday. And what I would do is from Monday to Friday, basically I would just spend this money, and then what would happen is like on Friday, basically like my friends were wanting to go out and like go to a movie or go out and get food or go out and just do some activity. And I'm like, I would look at my bank account and I had like, I don't know, it's like something stupid. It was like $5 in the bank or or even less, or like $3 in the bank. But I knew.
I feel like it was less.
I mean, well, no. But generally, what would happen is like I knew.
I feel like I was there for you once or twice when it was less.
As far as like monetary, I don't think you never gave me money. Let's be real. There was never a time. What? Yeah. For what?
When I lived with Army, you were still in the Casper.
You gave me $500 for what? Remind me. I don't remember that.
For you to live off of because you were poor with money. Well, you were poor.
Okay, maybe
that was too good with money.
I don't really remember that. But regardless, to go back.
To be fair, you drank some back then. I don't remember much.
What drink? Oh, I didn't. But it wasn't. It wasn't like it was like an everyday kind of thing. It wasn't like I was like getting drunk like every day. Like there were definitely times that I would go get drunk. But no, like it wasn't like an everyday kind of thing. But like I remember vividly. What would happen is basically I would on Friday, friends are going out, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go out because at this point in time, when you would have your debit card from the bank, and if you swiped it and you ran it as credit, because back when you had the choice of debit or credit, you swiped it and you ran it as credit, it wouldn't hit your bank until the next working day. So Saturday and Sunday you were free, and then on Monday it would hit your hit your bank account. So what I would do is I would be like, okay, I've got like $3 in the bank. This activity is going to cost me like $20. Like, but I'm going to get paid on Monday. It'll be like $100 and some dollars. Like, you know what I'll do? I'll swipe it as credit. I'll just sign my name, and then it'll hit the bank on Monday when I have money in the bank. And it was just the dumbest thing, and that's how I kind of like lived my life.
I would never live like that. Like, good God, it's not your responsibility.
But then, like, the thing is like, fast forward to, like, what would happen then is there would obviously be times that I would overdraft, and it would charge my account $25. Oh, yeah. It would charge the account $25 per charge. So, like, if I swipe it here, that'd be $25 if I don't have the money. And then I swipe it there, that's another $25. Even if I'm, like, spending, like, $3 here, $2 there, $10 here. It was 25.
I feel like that's what it was for. It's like you overdrafted.
No, that's. Oh no, it was. Oh yeah. No, there were plenty of times.
I lent you money, and you're like,
that could be the case. Yeah, definitely. But what would happen is like Mom would always call the bank. Besides the time that you would have given me $500, Mom would call the bank and ask them, "Hey, can you like get rid of that $25 overdraft fees? Like, can you just toss those out?" And the ladies at the bank, because we had such a good relationship, they're like, "Oh, sweetie, sure, yeah, we'll get rid of it. It's all good. We'll take care of it." And so, like at that moment, it was like this overprotective thing. Fast forward to me moving to Chattanooga, and I'm there, and same thing happens. Like I haven't learned my lesson. Like it was early 2007.
Because Mom was there to save you.
Because Mom was there to save me. But then Dad steps in. He's like, "You can't do that anymore. Like you're not going to bail him out. He has to pay for it." And at this point in time, I think I owed $400 extra to the bank, and that's a lot. Like for me at that age, at that time, that was a lot of money. I mean, I was 21 years old. At 21, I was like, holy crap, that's a lot of money. Like I don't make that much, and so having to pay back the bank a little bit at a time, like in order to do that. Like it was a very knowledgeable lesson. I'm not saying I do great like budgeting now, but I definitely know that I've got plenty of money in the bank to where like, I mean, unless like some kind of catastrophe happens where I have to go to the hospital or something like that, I'm good to go. But all because Dad made that decision. And like, that was a huge decision. Like, and I hated him for it at the time. I hated every minute because like all of a sudden, like I couldn't get away with what, you know, I could no longer shirk my responsibility. And it was, but like I never looked at it as that. Like I never looked at it as a responsibility of mine, but I looked at it more of like, this is a man who is trying to ruin my fun. Like my dad is ruining my fun. But, you know, honestly, like now looking back at it here 14 years later, I'm still grateful that he did that. I'm still thankful that Dad was like, cut me off and was like, no, we're not giving him any more money. We're not putting any money in the bank. He's paying for that overdraft. There's overdraft fees and everything. And I was like, I'm grateful. I like, and so I think that's probably like a huge thing that mom couldn't really teach us, like, because everything's gonna be okay, or mom's gonna try and make sure we're protected and we're safe. Dad's like, nope. If you mess up, you pay the consequences. If you do something that you are then responsible for, you're going to pay the consequences. And I think that's a huge thing that like men can teach boys, but women really can't. Just this idea of a certain type of responsibility, you know, a certain way of being both manly and I wouldn't say, because I don't think kindness isn't a manly thing. Like I think being kind can be a manly thing. I think being positive can be a manly thing. I don't think these are necessarily inherently feminine traits. I mean, I think these are also masculine traits. It's just that I think what has happened is like I think in our society we've tilted one way so much that our immediate reaction is to completely tilt the other way. So it's like sure, yeah, there was a time where misogyny existed, where men were dominating women, and like if you were married to a man, then you were just kind of screwed, and that was it. Like you didn't get a choice in the matter. You were staying at home, you were getting pregnant, you were taking care of the kids, you were cleaning the house, you were making the food, and it had to be at the time. That was it. Now, like, and so out of that, I'm not saying that there weren't some great men out there who actually took care of their women and loved them and cared for them and treated them as more than just, I guess, a prized possession. But we've gone completely to the other side now, where it's men are you know, to an extent in society are bashed and as treated as like less than. And that women are the dominators, that women are the alphas, that women are the, you know, the greatest. And it shouldn't be that it's one way or the other, but it should be this blending of the two, this understanding of the two, that men can't, like, it's not that men can't, it's not that men shouldn't be men, but it should be that men and women find a way to exist in an amicable way, right? Where men and women are working in a symbiotic relationship, not a parasitic relationship, you know, not being parasites to each other, or not feeling like one is a parasite to the other, but instead are existing at the same time, just understanding that women have these traits that make them great, and that men have these traits that make them great, and that through that they can actually work together and they can be together, that kind of thing. And so I think that's definitely kind of like lost on a lot of what is put out there in society, in media, in the movies.
A lot of problems we have nowadays too is like you hear that one saying, "I don't need a man," you know. So men are instantaneously rejected, but then they're like 5 minutes later on instant media or social media, like where are all the men at? What do you mean you don't need one? Like you just said that, you know. Just TikTok how much you don't need a man. Now 5 minutes later, TikTok and where are all the good men at? Well, you drove them off.
Well, that's kind of like what he brought up is that kind of like at this point in time, it's like we've given the proverbial middle finger to society. The men have just kind of like they've hardened their hearts and stuff like that. But then like later on, he goes on and he kind of talks about where basically you know what? Actually, I don't know if it was in this chapter or not. Let me see if it was here.
No, the hardened hearts is in the chapter.
No. That is what I mean. Is like this. He goes on to kind of like talk about how like even though society is kind of like not maybe not all of society, but certain parts of society, certain people in society are attacking men and manliness.
I mean, that's no benefit for a man anymore to be a man, honestly.
But what he says is he says what we've done is that it's actually more of our fault, not blaming society, because yes, society is taking it out on men, and there's a lot of issues about men. I mean, especially let's talk about the workplace, like to an extent, I'm okay with it, like what they call like locker room talk. I'm okay with that kind of like going away, because it does kind of objectify women to an extent. Like even like there's like even here in China, like there might be some people who kind of like engage in that, foreigners who are here who engage in that kind of talk, and I'm just like, no, I'm not really a big fan of that. Like I'm kind of more along the lines like, and even before I was married, I wasn't really comfortable with that kind of talk where it's like, okay, this locker room talk, we're gonna have this kind of conversation about stuff. But instead, like having the, where was I going with that? Oh, so I'm okay with like getting rid of that and not having that. But the idea that that as far as society being responsible for all manliness being gone, even Mickler's like, you can blame some of society, but the biggest thing is like if you're blaming somebody else for something that you can be in control of, like your manliness, you're blaming somebody else. If you're blaming society, then you're already failing as a man. You're already not existing, and like you should look at it as a mindset. Is like, it's my fault. I can do something. I'm not going to. This is a challenge. Society is attacking me as a man or certain parts of society are attacking me as a man for being manly. But it's like, you know what? I like this challenge. It's like now I get to be challenged. I mean, the part of it is like even this podcast, like what we're trying to do is challenging, being a challenge, like putting up a challenge against the traditional thought of what's going on in society. Like society's like, you can't be men. It's like, no. We can be men. We should be men. We will be men. We're just not going to be, again, this far side of misogyny, but also we're not going to go to this far side of misandry, right? Instead, we're gonna have this middle line of respect for both sexes and honoring both sexes for what both sexes can do and can bring to the table. Okay, there are things that women can bring to the table. There are things that men can bring to the table that make them uniquely and individually different. Absolutely different. There's no doubt that men are different from women, period. That the sexes have certain capabilities. Women can do certain things. Men can do certain things. Women can do things that men can't. Men can do things that women can't. It's not like this whole like, oh no, like that's sexist. It's like women can do everything men can't do. No, that's not true. Just like I would never say men can do anything that a woman can. No, you can't. Like that's not paying attention to our biological inheritances. It's not paying attention to, let's just say, evolutionary. Like if you want to, I'm not saying like I believe in all of evolution, but how you develop, how you have adapted. Like that's ignoring that, like our responsibility as men to be in a battle, to have an adventure, to be the protector, to be the one who is trying to help and provide, right? And so I'm going to speak to that, like more so than than I can about like compassion. I mean, I think compassion is a huge thing, and I think it's very necessary for men. But I'm not gonna speak to more feminine traits. Again, not saying that compassion is just a purely feminine trait, but like there are certain feminine traits that women are really great at. Let them do that. But for us, like I'm interested in bringing back that manliness kind of thing, and it's gonna be a battle. And that's what he talks about. Is that it's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a battle against society, against thoughts that are anti-male, and it's going to be a battle against ourselves. Like whether we are being complacent or whether we are being natural, like being the natural man, like whether we're being weak or being a coward or even being lazy.
I just had a crazy thought just there.
Go ahead.
You're gonna like it. So I've said myself like 100 times, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. Once school's over with, because like I've just been going nonstop so long, right, so hard. What am I gonna do when that challenge is over? And then now I have this challenge where I'm going to school and going through a divorce and working, trying to find a job, fighting for my kids. It's like, well, geez, like I mean, the real question is like, if I thought I was taking on so much before, then more gets piled on. It's like, one, how do you feel? Like, I know Dad feels about this whole energy of like bringing stuff upon yourself and stuff like that. One is like, did I bring more upon myself? And then two is like, do we sabotage ourselves looking for an adventure, looking for that hard? That was like the thought I just had. And I was like, you're like, Jesus, that's tough one. But like, it's like, now it's like, what am I really going to do when all this stuff settles down? Like, and then it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't think that, because maybe like it's going to be like something else going to be stacked on top of that,
Yeah. Well, I think so. I guess from my perspective, I think so because technically, I guess like this will be posted before our talk about chapter 2, where he talks about being proactive in life. I think one of the things that we should do is, and even in chapter 2 where he talks about complacency, what it is for us, I think, is that not like, I don't know if Dad's like necessarily talking about like, okay, you're bringing all of this negative stuff into it because of how your like mentality is and stuff like that. I think that's kind of where he's going, and while yes, to an extent, I think if you kind of like breathe negativity, or if you like think in a negative way, then yeah, you can bring that into your life potentially. Like you do, I think you do have some kind of control of that. But as far as like doing it for like a challenge or for like a battle or trying to create an adventure for yourself in this, like, number one, let's just be honest, this whole divorce thing is going to take time. And so you'll constantly be in a battle for that. That being said, I think once you're done with like school, and like, let's say when the divorce finalizes and when things kind of like, I want to say settle down, but when it kind of seems like things drop off, right? You're no longer going into the battle of school. You're no longer going into the battle of work. You're no longer going into the battle of divorce. You're no longer going into the battle of dealing with a difficult relationship. Then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, what do I do now? And like, let me go and search for a battle. And yes, absolutely that. Absolutely, like, you should go and find something to do. But that battle doesn't have to be, let me go like try and, do something that's going to cause me a lot of pain. But like unwanted pain or unwarranted pain, unnecessary pain. But instead going in like let's just say, becoming like you all of a sudden decide, I'm going to become a bodybuilder. I'm going to work as an engineer and I'm going to become a bodybuilder. Like, that's going to be a battle. It's going to be fighting. Or let's say even this podcast. Let's say it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go I'm going to be working as an engineer, but also I'm going to be working on this podcast. And this podcast is going to be a challenge. Doing this podcast is going to be something difficult to do at the same time as engineering. Like, I mean, even me, like I'm excited to get up at 5:30 in the morning or at 5 o'clock in the morning after going to bed at midnight. I'm excited to get up to do a podcast like that. But that's like a battle. It's not easy. Like I don't, well, it is easy in that I'm excited to do it, but it's also difficult because I'm just like I'm like pounding away at the coffee, like just trying to keep up as much energy as I can. But like it's the thrill of the fight, right? It's right.
Did I pass out on you last night on the phone?
No. You were no. I don't think you did. No. We didn't. Well, no.
I woke up on the floor because I was so tired. I just fell asleep right there. I was like, man.
No, you're good. No, but that's the thing is like being proactive about choosing which battle you go for versus being complacent and then the battle comes at you. That's what he talks about. Is like being proactive in choosing that battle. Being like, you know what, I'm going to go battle this because I want to. Not I'm going to be complacent and then oh crap, like now I'm getting hit with this battle and now I got to fight. And that's kind of where you're at now. Is like the complacency that has happened in your life.
But that's chapter 3.
What, the battle?
Yeah,
it's chapter 2.
No. But the complacency you're talking about, like we cover that in chapter 3 itself too. It's like instead of being complacent, you pick that battle. Oh, is it chapter 2? I thought our own worst enemy was chapter 2.
No. Chapter 2 is the battle.
Our
own worst enemy is episode. Episode 3. The fake episode 3.
My bad. Episode 3 will be chapter 2. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want from me? But no. Picking your own battle, like you said, I agree with. Not holding your tongue, as well as knowing when to speak up and to hold your tongue, as well as when to shut up. It's like, I mean, you gotta tell people when they're wrong, no matter how bad it hurts you. It's just like I said with Alex, he doesn't hold his tongue. But you have to know when it's right to share something, when it's right to not share. It's kind of funny talking about that and then going over the same thing at the end of the chapter. Like, it's the same thing. It's like, I mean, we all fight it.
Yep. And like the interesting thing is like, not only do you have to battle. Not only do you have to battle things that are in the exterior world, but like the biggest battle is the internal world, like battling yourself, like and obviously like knowing what, like being able to accept fault. And like the cool thing is like I know like Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this a lot, where if you complain, if you're whining about something that's outside, or if you're trying to put the blame on somebody else, right? Everything is somebody else's fault. Like what's happening in my life is this person's fault, or that, or society's, or COVID's, or whatever, that fault. But then all of a sudden you're shirking the responsibility. You're like, you know what? It's everybody else's fault. Like, and so I can't do anything about it. Right? That person's a jerk to me. I can't do anything about it. My wife did this to me. I can't do anything about it. It's her fault. Like one of the things again for me mentally is like I could easily right now. I could easily blame my wife for my weight problem, just because like generally she's the one who well okay. My current weight problem. No, not before. Like building into it. Like it's been all my fault. But then like. Being like, meaning like I could easily sit there and say, okay, she's cooking the wrong food, or she's not making enough food. I can make that excuse. I could sit there and like totally sit there and say, yeah, okay, it's her fault, and I can't do anything about it. Like she's responsible for all the food. But who gave her that responsibility? Who allowed her to have that responsibility? Like I'm the one who like if I take responsibility for my life, and not just take responsibility for mine, but also to an extent take responsibility for hers, like then it's kind of like, okay, it's my fault. I can do something about it. I got it. You know, it's my responsibility to not just be the provider, the protector, but also to be the leader. And so if I'm not being a leader in that regards, and I even talked to her about it last night when we were coming back to the house. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start cooking. I'm gonna start ordering groceries, like because now that she's working and I'm working, like but I can come home and I can do some stuff here at the house because I've got time. You know, I can do stuff here at the house in order to help her out. And so that's kind of that idea. Is like it's my responsibility to be responsible for my own health, be responsible for my own weight. And so I can't just like blame it on her and just, I mean, I could, of course I can, but that's the, like he says, that's the natural man. That's the man that doesn't have sovereignty over his own life. That's the man who's not willing to accept responsibility for the stuff that he can control, and I can control that.
You know, you talk about the biggest battles with yourself. I mean, that's everything. Like everything's your mind is more a battleground than anywhere else. You know, because life is so much easier nowadays. Like your mind is your battlefield half the time. You know, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Should I do that? I mean, a lot of it's like, you know, did I do the right thing? If I do this, what happens? You know, it's that calculated risk thing. It's like, what do I do? You know, like, you know, of course I go see a counselor or whatever to help through my feeling. But, you know, there the last 2 weeks ago, before, you know, when we dropped a whole nother EPO on me and all this other stuff, I was like, you know, I think I could go back with her, you know, if she was honest about what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if she wasn't blaming me for everything that she did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I know I shouldn't go back because I don't think she'll change because of it. And so I was so much on that fence, like that battle with myself. And, you know, when I went back today, you know, 100%, the fence isn't even inside anymore with knowing that I should not get back with her because it's like you're still trying to destroy the person that you say you love, that you want to be with. And not even a week ago, you want to start dating again or whatever. It's like, you know, I was battling myself this whole time, and then it just proves the point. You know, she doesn't hear what she wants to hear. She's right back to the person that she says she's not trying to be. Mm-hmm. And it's like, geez. And so, like, my counselor was like, yeah, you seem like, before you're struggling with it, now you seem like you're 100% know what you're going to do. I was like, yeah, man. I was like, these things, like, making the right choice. I was like, I still don't know down the road if it's the right choice. I don't know if, you know, like I said last night, if I would be able to get back with her if I don't stay away from her. But the thing is, it's like I made that choice, and it's kind of like that choice itself, that battle right there that I made the choice for has kind of put me at a more self-peace. Mm-hmm. You know, like I know what's coming. I mean, I don't, but I know a general idea. Like I'm going to war, 100%. I'm fighting for my life, for my kids' lives, for my right to see my kids. And you know, I'm fighting somebody that said they loved you. Now they're willing to just do whatever they can to destroy you. Like it's, you know, the battle in your head is just the forefront for the battle in real life. Honestly,
yeah,
it's foreplay. That's not a good analogy. It's like, you know, 100%.
Let me ask you this. So kind of because again, like the spectrum that you're on versus where I'm on. Like I am 2 years and some change. So we'll say almost 2.5 years into marriage. There you are, 8 years into marriage, and so
sure. You
definitely got more of a like a hindsight is 2020 kind of view, right? Like looking back,
absolutely.
So let me throw this at you. Would you say, like, I understand that there's that battle that you're going on right now, whether to go back or you had whether to go back or not,
right?
But looking even further back, retrospectively, would you say like Like would you say that there were many times or lots of times where you were like the natural man, and that you were either weak, or you were a coward, or lazy, or a liar, a cheat, a thief, wanting something for nothing, pathetic, you didn't want to exert effort, you wanted things to be easy or safe or comfortable? Like can you look back and say, okay, this is kind of, and not so much just like throughout the whole thing, but like maybe like certain pinpoints along the relationship timeline that you were like, okay, this is a point where things started to kind of go off the rails, and then now this is a point, and like this is why, like this is my issue, and 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 that ended up getting to a point now where you are in the process of divorcing.
Well, I wouldn't call it like the weaker man, but I know I made mistakes that, looking back at, maybe I could have handled it better. But at the same time, I don't know how to explain it. Like, there was always something off in our marriage. I felt like, like she had been through so much. There was some baggage there from before, and it's like, I wanted to be that good in her life, but then pretty soon with everything she had been through, like it turned around to where, like I was being the bad guy instead of everybody else that done bad to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
like she was presenting you as the bad guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, 100%. Like no matter, like even from the get go, like we'd have little scuffles where she'd throw my stuff out of the house, and because I didn't agree with who or what she was doing, no, that's not right. Stand up. Hey, this is not right what you're doing. Oh, well, you can get out. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, and now, full circle 12 years later, it's the same thing. If she didn't agree with something I said, she'd want to throw my stuff out or have a long ass fight about it. And,
but like, so
honestly, no, there was no weaker. Like, I should have ended it. Maybe I was complacent because I enjoyed the relationship. I enjoyed stuff that involved the relationship.
You say sex is fine.
It's fine, is it? I wasn't sure if I was allowed to. But then at the same time, we did split up there for 2 years, and it was like the same thing. It was like, I moved out for 6 months, and like she's like, come back, and like, that was a split. That was a breakup. Things happened in the breakup, I'm sure, between her and other people, and she assumed between me and other people that, even to this day, I've never been with another person. And like, that's the thing. Like, she went off of like that little split as like, well, you had multiple women. And I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, that's what it was. It was like, the inadequacies from your last marriage played such a heavy role in our marriage that we never even stood a chance, because you instantly assumed I was the bad guy at all odds, and like I knew it, subconsciously, and I just didn't recognize it, like nobody's trained to recognize when something's wrong,
Well, what I would wonder is so let me ask these two things, because like I want to dig down into it.
I don't know if we're digging down into it today, but okay.
I mean, we can. Where are we?
I think they close in like 15 minutes.
Okay, well then we got 15 minutes to dig down. So one, when you were talking about how like she would like get angry at you and then like get your stuff together and then like kick you out and stuff like that. At that moment, you would normally just accept it, right? And then when she would be like, "Oh, baby, please come back," would you bring it back up, or would you allow it to just happen? Like, just be like, "Okay, that happened. Let's just tuck it away."
It was my fault what happened. I deserved the reaction. That's how it played out. So it was never addressed as like she should have reacted that way. Because I never should have gone against her at all.
Like you're saying you shouldn't have gone against her at all?
That's how it was relayed to me. Like, it's kind of like it is now. Like I reacted the way I did because of what you did to me.
Oh yeah, no. I get that, but like what I mean is like,
no, it was brushed under the rug. It was never.
It was brushed under the rug. So like to that end, like would you say that it's your fault for brushing it under the rug or allowing it to be brushed under the rug?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
All right, so that's what I mean by like the weaker man, is because the weaker man generally, the natural man, according to Ryan Mickler, the weaker man is the one that doesn't really bring that up, kind of leaves it under the rug. It's like, okay, it's under the rug. Let's do that. You got what?
I said I agree with that.
Yeah, and so there's that. But then going to even where she's what was the other one? Where she's where you're like, where you were saying, like in your mind, like you were like, I never even really knew that, or like maybe like subconsciously I knew that there was something wrong, or that there was something due to her previous marriage, that there was an issue lingering there for her. The thing is like, if you knew that, like, would that have like, it would kind of be like your responsibility to not attack that, but to like kind of force this issue of like, you've got to go and get some stuff done. Like you've got to figure yourself out. Like, cause like our relationship is kind of hitting this thing, and I can't really do anything with it. You've got to go and take a look at yourself. You've got to go and answer the question of like, what the heck is going on in your mind that is affecting this relationship, that's causing this issue? Like, what's going on? But
that was a long time ago. Like, she needed help, and like she's like, basically it just turned around on me again. Like, you made me feel like I was doing something wrong. It's like I didn't. I don't know how I would have. Like,
but like even to that extent, like, cause like sometimes that'll happen with Shelly, is like, I'll say, like, even now, like there's something like there's something in her background, and like it could be me, it could be like when we were dating, there was a lot of problems that were happening, and my fault, like 100% my fault. I have no problem with it, and that could be affecting her mentality in certain times whenever we're like having an argument or something like that. But like she gets very angry very quickly, and I'm like okay, like in about certain things that it may not, like, in my mind don't mean that much, but in her mind there's something there. And so like I'll sit there and I'm like, hey, look, we've got to figure something out. Like, we've got to figure out what is going on with her. Now, granted, Shelly's much more inclined to do that. She's not fighting me on it. She's not like trying to be like, no, like she fought me a little bit on it. She's like, I don't really want to go talk to a counselor. I don't really want to do that. And I'm like, I'm not really interested. I'm like, no, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. Like, this is an important thing. And so she's talking with somebody now who's kind of like helping her kind of like process that, and helping her kind of like recognize and delve into herself, delve into her past, delve into her emotions, and figure out what the heck is going on. And so, like, my thing is like, what it seems like would happen is like the battle there, especially for you, like early on, maybe when she would be like, oh, you're just making me feel like I'm doing something wrong. You're like, oh no, like I'm sorry, like that kind of thing. It's like, no. You are doing something wrong. Like, whatever's going on mentally with you, emotionally with you, there is something wrong with that. Now, I'm not saying you're doing something wrong. I'm not saying you're a terrible person. What I'm saying is you need to go figure it out. That way our relationship can survive. But if she, but I would venture to say she would push back on that. And then you were like now you're fighting it. But if you, like, at that point in time, would you say that you were like, okay, fine, never mind. Listen, this is not working out. Let's just not deal with it. Because
no, she got some help once upon a time. I remember she said she went to counseling, but what they talked about, I don't know.
Yeah.
Clearly it didn't help. She just got better at hiding it, I think, maybe, or I don't know, maybe it just got busier, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She turned against the parents, and then like it was always a fight against how you choose your parents over me.
I do remember that.
Like that's like, you know, when you're getting attacked like that, you're like, no, I'm not. Like I'm not. Like you don't really have the chance to defend yourself because you can't. Like you're like, she's backing up with facts. You know, yeah, I did back my parents up, but you were wrong. No, you should back me up, no matter how I am. It's like, is that true? Like, is that right? So there's something wrong, I guess. So I don't know. But we need to cut this off.
Okay.
I hate to cut it short, but yeah, I think men are put down, let others down, and it's just what's the saying? Hard times make hard men. Hard men make good times. Good times make soft men. Soft men make hard times. You know, it's just
froze there for a little.
We're making soft men right now. Pretty soon we're gonna have hard times to back it up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But anyways, I'm gonna go. We're gonna start downloading it. Stop it. That way. Yeah, like 5 minutes before they kick me out.